This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hi guys, we're here in the middle of the forest and it's beautiful and you reconnect back with Mother Nature. You know, my question for you is, are you a healing influence on the planet or are you a burden to Mother Nature? That's a question we can all ask ourselves. Once we live in a concrete city, we get disconnected from Mother Nature. Maybe in 100 years' time with climate change, raising temperature, the humans are the threat to Mother Nature. I hope it doesn't come so far, but 300 years ago, we were a benign influence on the planet. Now we have mines, we have oil and gas fields, we chop down limestone mountains for cement. We are the dominating force on the planet. We are destroying some of this beautiful Mother Nature. We're pouring out carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and every one of us has an environmental impact. We can actually challenge ourselves to become a healing influence on the planet rather than a destructive. My motto in life is let's make a living with healing the planet rather than with destroying it. It starts at home. It starts at how much energy do you consume. Can you reduce your energy consumption? I started a movement called the Negawatt Revolution. Negawattrevolution.org. That's where you can set up your free account to save electricity at home. Save electricity, save money, and help to make your contribution to save the planet. For Malaysia, every kilowatt hour is 0.747 kilogram of carbon dioxide.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Global Village. I'm your host, Buddy Kunana. Now, first, allow me to greet all of you a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Holidays from all of us here in the Global News Network. Now, you know, folks, on Philippine TV, this is the only show that really concentrates on foreign affairs, on topics that impact the global community. And tonight's a very special show because we're talking about the environment, which is one of our core advocacies here on Global Village. And joining us to talk about environmental issues and what all of us can do to save Mother Earth is none other than a very famous guy, very special guy. He's a writer, author, he's a motivational speaker. He's the author of The Green Man's Guide to Green Living and Working. He was actually once voted the greenest man on the planet. This is none other than a good friend of mine, Mr. Matthias Gelber. Matthias, welcome to Global Village.
Thank you, buddy. Good to be here, enjoying my time in the Philippines, and yeah, looking forward to share some good ideas on how we can be a healing influence on Mother Earth.
Yes. How are your holidays, by the way? I mean, this is our year-end and beginning 2018 special. So how did you spend your holidays?
Wonderful. I really enjoyed time with the family and reflecting on what is to come in the new year, how I can make an even bigger impact and inspire more people to live a green lifestyle. And at the same time, you know, when you are on holiday, you eat a lot. And food has a significant environmental impact, especially red meat. So avoiding the red meat, shifting more to a plant-based diet is one very good way of how we can actually help Mother Earth.
Now, I understand this is your first Christmas and New Year here in the Philippines. You're fairly new to the Philippines by way of a permanent resident, so to speak.
Yes.
How did the traditional Yuletide holidays in the Philippines, how were they compared to what you're used to?
Yeah, I have lived for 14 years in Malaysia, and Christmas is not such a big thing there. When growing up in Germany, Christmas was always, we were hoping that there would be snow during Christmas time because that makes it very special, very romantic. And here in the Philippines, it's a very much family event.
Yes.
It's an event as well to reflecting back about our faith. And for me, you know, here in the Philippines, one thing that I have gotten more and more involved in is the Laudato Si movement. The Holy Father, the Pope, published a letter, an encyclical letter, on how we have to protect, as Christians, our common home. You know, God has given us the planet, creation, to look after, not to exploit. So this is as well a calling that I feel more and more connected with by being here in the Philippines, a country where you know, the holidays really remind you about the importance of family and the importance of looking after our one and only God-given planet.
Definitely. You know, Christmas is such a big thing in the Philippines. I think we are probably the people on the planet that celebrates Christmas the earliest. We
Yes.
start in September. The moment, you know, people, the Burr months come, you have the Christmas carols, you got
Yes.
Christmas trees coming up. But anyway, all good fun, all good,
Yes, yes.
all good fun. Let's talk about you, Matthias. What brought you to the Philippines?
First time I came to the Philippines was 1999, Los Baños, Laguna. I was traveling around the world giving talks on environmental management systems for businesses. How businesses can help this ISO standard to reduce their negative environmental impact and enhance their positive environmental contributions like efficiency,
Yes.
where you can even save money. And the Philippine Development Bank asked me to give a 4-day training course. It was in Laguna. I was amazed about the hospitality, the spirit of celebration, and the belief that the Filipino audience had in me. So I kind of felt a calling. I had beautiful feedbacks from the delegates. I should come back, train the whole country. There were people from the DENR, DTI, and I felt immediately connected with the Philippines. So I used to come back on a regular basis, but there was no big reason to actually stay here all the time. Now I have a family. My partner is a Filipina, May Ann. I have a beautiful baby daughter,
Wunderbar.
Princess Athena, and I'm a happy man living here in the Philippines.
Very good, very good. And I'm so glad you're here because, you know, with your advocacies and all the good work you're doing for the environment, and we in the Philippines could surely use, you know, a lot of your advice and for you to bring your work over here to help us save the environment. Huh?
I'm here to share. I'm here to contribute. I'm here to hopefully make a positive impact on the natural, beautiful, amazing environment in the Philippines, and at the same time to help reduce the existing problems that we've got. You know, you go out there, we live in San Pablo City, you travel with a tricycle, you see open burning on the roadside, you see a lot of toxic emissions coming from the vehicles on the road. That is affecting the health of our generation, of our young children. I see a lot of kids in the neighborhood having asthma. So these are actual environmental impacts that are significantly leading to cancer and other things in the future that starts with young children being exposed to toxic chemicals.
Yes. Okay, before we jump into that, I want to ask you about your background. How did you get involved in the environment advocacy? I mean, you are the green man. Your nom de guerre is the green man. And you were voted the greenest man on the planet at one point, I think in 2008.
Yes.
Give us a little information about how you got into this.
I grew up in a little village, 500 people surrounded by loads of forest. My area in Germany has more than 60% forest cover. Our playground was the forest.
Nice.
It was not some PlayStation or an iPad or something like that. It was real nature. That's where we were. We got our hands in the mud. We were playing out there. I was always connected with the trees, with Mother Nature. Then, when I was a teenager, our pine trees were dying. Why? Because we had acid rain coming down from the pollution from the factories. Coal-fired power plants, chemical industry, manufacturing industry. There was no proper pollution control. All the sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide was coming back down as acid rain. And we were actually stepping up. The people in Germany were stepping up. The Green Party was being voted. We went on the streets to campaign against acid rain. That was my first major environmental campaign. Then I was a teenager, Chernobyl blew up. Suddenly the organic vegetables that we were growing in our own garden, we were not allowed to eat anymore. Suddenly there was this radioactive pollution coming from a totally faraway country and impacting our lives in Germany. Those were wake-up calls. Two things really. One thing is, if we work together, we can change things. Germany then introduced tough environmental legislation. And in Germany, legislation gets diligently enforced.
Yes.
That's maybe sometimes the problem here in the region.
Yes.
We have the legislation, but we don't have the enforcement, or there's a way around the enforcement. But this happened in Germany because politicians had to go green, otherwise they were losing votes.
Yes.
But Germany was not perfect. When I was a boy in my little village, we still had an illegal dumping ground in the middle of the forest. I can still remember that very, very well. So it takes some time. It takes a whole generation to change the practice and to change the beliefs and to change the way how we, what we demand from politicians.
Yes,
If we
yes.
demand from politicians environmental protection, proper waste management, clean air, clean water, and that is one of our priorities, then we can work bottom up and top down will come. Both is required.
Very good. I understand we have a video actually of you in your village, just to give the viewers an idea about what you're talking about your background from the little German village, and how really you guys, starting from there, how you made this the base of your advocacy really to start changing, changing the world.
Yes, yes.
Let's have that video.
Hey friends, this is Matthias from my kampong in Germany. You can see the forest behind me, very tall trees. This is where I used to grow up, just 3 minutes walking from where my house was in my little kampong. Loads of beautiful trees, and here as well. Let me show you this one. It's very nice. This is actually the local river that I used to play in, the stream. You can hear the sound of the water, the sound of the birds. That's beautiful Mother Nature. In Germany, it's a bit cold, it's a bit rainy here. I used to walk this path many times, drive it with my bike. This goes all the way. We used to be skiing here in the winter. Beautiful Mother Nature, old trees. Up there, still some snow left, actually, very far away. Beautiful old trees. Some of them already not so healthy anymore. Very nice colors from Mother Nature. So see you soon back in KL. Join me for the tree planting. And yeah, it's one world, one planet. We're all in it together. Let's enjoy the beautiful view again. See you soon in KL.
I mean, if that was your playground, I'm envious, because that is a little slice of paradise for you.
Yes,
Your little beautiful little part of Germany, which you call home.
Yes.
Now let's talk about Deutschland, your country. Germany really is one of the countries at the forefront of environmental protection, awareness. It's ingrained in the people. You know, it's part of the culture when you go there. It's really part of society's fabric. How did you guys do it in Germany?
There were two things really. One thing was to build it into the education of a new generation, and then to make it happen in practice. It's not enough to just learn in school how you're supposed to be doing it, but then when you come home, everything goes in one bin and there's no separation. But this kind of, to make it an imprint in society, came with school, education, practice, and people voting green. Once we voted green, politicians put the infrastructure in place to make it a reality. We have 4 different bins in every home, so you can make sure that already as a kid you get used to recycling. I remember a professor in Malaysia, his kids grew up in Japan, they learned it. When he came back to Malaysia, he told me his kids were shocked. Daddy, where's the recycling bins? Where? We want to recycle. If you grow up as a small kid learning it step by step, then it will become your behavior all lifelong.
But see, Matthias, isn't it the heart of the matter? Because when you talk about countries like Germany and Japan, these are first world countries, obviously very affluent, very, a lot of wealth there. Is it possible, is it feasible for us to roll this out in the third world setting when there are more pressing concerns of society than segregating waste? Maybe putting a meal on the table is more important, or finding employment, for instance.
Sure, but all these things help to create livelihood, help to put meals on the table. If we effectively separate our waste, then we can turn waste into value. I have even, simple products like this one. This is made from a recycled plastic bottle. So waste can be value, but we need to have the right infrastructure in place. In Germany, that was one of the main arguments initially. Industry was saying, if you introduce that tough legislation, it's going to cost us a lot of money, it's going to endanger our business.
Yes.
But actually, the opposite was the case. Germany became a leader in green technology and green innovation. We were able to export a lot of our green machinery to other countries and earn additional prosperity from it. I
Yes.
think there is a lot of hidden value in the Philippines in terms of the whole waste mountains that are currently just being dumped in landfill site
Yeah.
that could potentially be turned into value and provide a lot of livelihood to different people. I mean, just look alone at the waste of all the organic material that we have. The leaves, the branches,
Yes.
the coffee powder, the food waste that we have from home. If we would turn that into organic fertilizer, potentially into biogas, there is a huge business opportunity associated to it, but it needs to be properly managed. And we need to use some of the money that normally goes to just dumping or to cleaning up.
Yes.
If we don't have proper waste dumping sites, they will become future liabilities. I've seen that in Malaysia. Several times the drinking water supply was cut off because toxic leachate from old waste landfill sites was going into the groundwater. To clean that up costs millions of US dollars. So the future liabilities that we are creating by not going green will cost
For sure,
the
yes.
country a lot of money. It's the same
Yes.
with nuclear power plants.
Yes.
I mean, if we see the debate at the moment, in Germany, the government has told every company that runs a nuclear power plant, please put 5 billion euro aside to manage the cost of decommissioning the nuclear power plant.
Yes.
It becomes a long-term liability for society. Maybe some people are going to make money here today and the price of electricity looks very attractive, but once you see the long-term cost of getting rid of the toxic stuff, then you have a problem.
It's a good, I mean, I think that's a good policy to make business aware of, I mean, so they can plan properly, so they
Yes.
can set aside funds, and in their strategic planning, medium, long-term planning, they know
Yes.
that they have to set aside a certain amount of funds, as you said, for decommissioning or for cleaning up your act, no?
Just look at the cost to the health system in the Philippines of the air pollution that we have in Metro Manila and in all big cities. It's gigantic. Every time I used to come to Manila, after 3 or 4 days, I had a throat infection. I don't get it now anymore. Maybe my throat has already adjusted, or maybe we have
Your immune
reduced
system is now
the
used to, you're,
yes.
now, you're more Filipino now.
The
There you go.
cost of corrosion that comes from the acid rain to structures, to buildings,
Yes.
the cost to the health of people. If we would properly calculate it, it's a huge burden to the Philippine economy.
Yes. Do you see that corporates in the Philippines are opening their eyes and getting, more aware of, these costs that don't really impact their businesses right away, but as you said, in the long term,
Yeah.
it's gonna come back.
I think there's change happening. I mean, I worked with Dina Stalder, who has run a factory in San Pablo City, and she was able to reduce her electricity bill by 30% through very simple, practical eco campaigns, changing the mindset of her staff, and she has set up an organic garden. At the same time, I had a meeting the other day with Boyson. They have started to innovate eco-friendly paints that are not based on solvent, and that actually, I think you might have seen on the ETSA, there's this knocks out paint. It has actually roughly statistically been proven that 20% of the nitrous oxides that normally are in that area get reduced
Yes.
with this catalytic paint that actually destroys nitrous oxides.
That's
So
amazing.
that is an
Yeah,
amazing
yes.
product, and but
Let's paint all our
unfortunately-
buildings with that now.
yeah, unfortunately, it's mainly used overseas rather than in the Philippines.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you say mindset, because
Yeah.
even business, the first thing when you mention renewable and all that, businessmen think of it as a cost.
Yes,
And so
yes.
change the mindset, knowing that they can actually save money in the long term.
Yes.
And make their, make a better contribution to the community and society by going green and going renewable.
Yes.
Matthias, we got to pause for a break. When we come
Yes.
back, we're going to talk about the situation of plastics in the Philippines. We're also going to talk about what you are doing actually in San Pablo as a model to showcase how one can really become, live greenly. So, guys, stick around because more of Green Talks with Green Man, Matthias Gelber, when Global Village returns.